Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we make some sense out of the nonsense all around us. Listen, lots of words in the last few nights, right? The most important things is, how do you view God, right? Is Jesus relevant? Yeah, he's very relevant, right? Because of what's happened. And last night, oh yes, he did. God did kick Adam and Eve out of the garden. So if you don't think that God would keep you out of heaven because you haven't made Jesus relevant to you, because you haven't accepted the free gift of Jesus who covers your sin and takes them away, right? Then you have a problem. Let me give you a couple more examples, right? In the story of Noah, right? God told Noah to build him an ark. God said, he looks down, he sees all the mess, everything around, and he said, hey, we got to do something about this whole thing, right? So God sees the mess and says, hey, we got to, I'm done, right? It says that God was grieved, right? In verse 5 of chapter 6, it says, when the Lord saw the human wickedness was widespread on the earth, and that every inclination of the human mind was nothing but evil at the time, the Lord regretted that he had made man on earth, and he was deeply grieved. God looks down, and sometimes God is grieved. Sometimes God is repentant of the fact that he made man, right? That he made you and I. So we look at this and say, yep, God was grieved. God regretted that he had made man. So we have to look at this whole thing and say, okay, so what do we do with that? Well, God told Noah, build an ark. I'm going to take care of all this. Now, again, we can argue, holy God, righteous God, a God love trumps all. What's going on here, right? Why isn't love trumping all here? Right? What's going on? Why did God regret? Why did he do all these things? This is the same God that we serve today, right? So God told Noah, build an ark. Noah built the ark, right? Which is a crazy thing when you think about the whole thing, right? For 100 years, God let this whole building the ark thing progress. God doesn't want any to perish. God is constantly long-suffering. He's constantly giving us opportunities. All over in the Bible talks about how many opportunities he's given. How much time has he spent pleading and asking us, get it right, get it right, get it right, get it right. That's the love of God. The love of God comes down and says, you're doing wrong. You deserve to be wiped off this map, right? But I love you so much. I'm going to tell you, get it right, get it right, get it right. But at the end of this story, there's something very interesting that we don't always focus on. God had Noah build the ark. God sent the animals. Noah put them on the ark, right? Noah's family gets on the ark, and then God closes the door. We talked about it last night. Oh, yes, he would, right? Oh, yes, he did. God himself closed the ark. He didn't leave that to Noah. Hey, no, you decide. You know that Noah would have been closing the door on his family members, his friends, people that he knew, people that he had done life with, people that he just ate dinner with maybe the night before. Whatever it is, God didn't have Noah do that. He did it. God closed the door and said, enough. God would do that all throughout the Old Testament. There's example after example of God saying, enough. God closes the door. God tells Jeremiah, don't pray for these people anymore. It's enough. God closes the door. And so God would do that. A holy and a righteous God would say, you're not coming to heaven. You're not coming to heaven if you're not righteous. Again, Noah was a righteous man. God allowed him on the boat because he was a righteous man. God wants righteous people to be in heaven. He's going to allow you to go to heaven when you're righteous. Your righteousness is like dirty, filthy rags without Jesus. There is no righteousness in you. Once in a while, you'll do a right thing. You might even do it for a few weeks. But there is no righteousness in you. Nothing that makes you worthy of getting to heaven. It's all about Jesus. So we need you to understand this. When we talk about the end times and things that are coming and all this stuff that we talked about last week, understand this. Oh, yes, he would. God would. He shut the door on the ark, allowing a whole bunch of people to perish. God would do that because his righteousness demands it. His holiness demands that no evil be in heaven. This should scare you. Because if you've made a God that wouldn't shut the door to the ark, that's not the God of the Bible. That's a different God. So here's what I want you to chew on tonight. Would or would not your God close a modern day ark door? Would he or wouldn't he? You decide that. We'll see you next time. Nightly Nonsense.